with This is Hello Future Buzz, and we're doing our Spaces talk today with Dropp, which is an exciting new product from the group at Open Crowd. And we have with us today the CEO of Dropp, Sushil Prabhu, and Sean Trainer. Dropp is a pay-as-you-go extension for browsers, I believe, and also has a mobile application. So, Sushil, would you like to introduce yourself to our group?
Absolutely. So my name is Sushil Prabhu. I'm the CEO chairman of Dropp, which is a spin out of Open Crowd. Dropp is a separate entity. It's a completely separate independent entity. But I'm the CEO, and I've been managing Open Crowd for the last 17 years. And before that, I have about 15 more years of fintech background. So I've been in fintech for the last 30 years. And I can tell you more about how we build the application and how our expertise in fintech really helped us shape this product.
Oh, great. We're looking forward to hearing all about that. And
Sure.
We also have with us Sean Trainer, who is with Dropp. Also, Sean, would you like to introduce yourself to the group?
Sure. I'm one of the founders of Dropp, as well as the founder of Open Crowd. Some people within the Hedera community may or may not know Open Crowd per se, but they probably know Dragonglass. So Dragonglass was one of the first Hedera-based products that Open Crowd put out. So we've now moved Dragonglass over underneath of Dropp and have just recently launched. So my background is similar to Sushil's. I have 30 plus years in fintech as well, starting my career out at Nasdaq, developing trading and surveillance systems, and over the past 4 to 5 years have been almost exclusively focused on blockchain and distributed ledger technologies.
Thank you for that. Well, since you mentioned SEC and stuff, you guys have, it's a little off topic, but I think on topic to our community, with the recent passage of the bill in Congress, do you have anything to tell us about how crypto and hashgraph and blockchain are going to be affected by the SEC's new rules?
Hi, Sean. You want to go ahead, or do you want me to?
So you can field that one because I'm not sure yet.
I think we're all not sure. That's why I was just asking if you had an opinion. Sushil, do you have an opinion on the SEC's increasing vocal voice in our community?
I'm sorry, my headphone just gave up, so I'm just going to use a speakerphone. I'm really sorry about that. In general, just the regulations, the way everything is moving, and the SEC regulation you're talking about, the cryptocurrency sale that's coming out, is that the one you're talking about?
Yes.
Right? Yeah. I mean, in general, we need that regulation, right? I mean, in one of the blogs that we had written, we talked about DeFi quite a bit, and we're very excited about the decentralized financing. But one of the elements that is still missing is some amount of stabilization. I mean, at this point, we can have an alternative banking system, at least when you look at all the DeFi products that are out there. You can have an absolute alternative bank. But what's really missing is a mass adoption of all of these really creative technology platforms. And what's stopping people is, people are worried. People are scared. Like, what's going to happen to my crypto? What's the regulation? How do I sell it? When I buy it? I think all of these regulations that are happening is just going to help us. And so I'm more and more encouraged. I don't know if you saw today about what's happening in Wyoming, where there are more and more companies, including Microsoft, moving to Wyoming because that's the state that has taken the first step in making it more regulated and more standardized, and they're more open to the concept of blockchain and cryptocurrencies. So I think this is all really good. It's all going to help us. And we need this. Most of us believe in the DeFi and everything that we're doing in Hedera. We believe in it, but it requires a little bit of a legal framework, and I think that's what we're going to get.
Yeah, I do believe that our community in general is not adverse, as opposed to a lot of the other cryptos, to regulation, and that's what draws the community to Hedera. The fact that the standards and the trust layer and all the things that Hedera brings to the table with the
Yeah.
stable coins is a benefit, not a. We do. I agree with you. We do need regulation, and
I mean, I mean that's one of the reasons why we know about Hedera since 2017. We were the development partners. But when we were building, when we were even came up with the concept of micropayment, one thing that did attract us towards the platform, where this is more in sync with what will be acceptable in the future. When people start moving money, right? And so I agree with you totally, and I think the Hedera community is more inclined to have a solid regulatory framework, right, for us to serve. And this really was one of the reasons why we picked Hedera when we were thinking, and that's what many of our investors were also interested in. That is like, is it going to be Bitcoin? Is it going to be this? I'm like, no, we're using Hedera, and we have to explain them the whole concept of how there are nodes and there's a governance council and all of that. That really helped us.
Yeah, I think the decentralized nature of Hedera, along with the governing council
Yeah.
and the structure that Lehman and Mance have decided to launch the company with, first targeting enterprise level companies, corporations. It was a very smart move to get companies on board a distributed ledger. And it was that part of the reason that Dropp is built on Hedera for you?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there are a variety of reasons. You just picked one, and that's a very good one. Because let me tell you a couple of things. Right, there are multiple things that made us pick Hedera, and I do want to bring out we were the development partners of Hedera, so we have strong expertise in it. That always helps. Okay, when you have when you understand the underlying technology. The second, if you look at what is it that you have to guarantee when you're building payment rail, you have to build a solid feeling of confidence and security in your consumers and the merchants who are going to use your system, right? So we were looking for something which is extremely secure, something that's not going to be forked. All of those things worry people. So security was covered by. Then the other thing of micropayments specifically used for digital payments is the latency time. So let's say when you're buying a newspaper clip, or let's say you're paying 5 cents to listen to someone's podcast, you want that performance, you want that purchase to go to be completed in milliseconds, in seconds. I wouldn't say milliseconds, in seconds, right? So you're looking for a very low latency. Then you're looking for, this is our belief, that microtransactions, this whole economy of micropayments, it's going to be you making a lot of payments, ad hoc payments, sort of things that you liked on the internet, you bought for 10 cents and 5 cents, and you'd be doing this a lot more often because they're small ticket items all day long. So the throughput and the volume of transactions are going to be a lot more than what Visa, Master, and you name it. I mean, all these other big payment engines are. So in the future, we see that whatever you build it on, that platform will have to handle a lot of transactions in a very quick time frame. All of these requirements, Hedera fits in like 100%. So it was sort of a no-brainer when we looked at the technology attributes or our requirements and what Hedera offered. So it was like, Sean, you can add some, but these were some of the technical questions we had as we were building the product.
I think
Hedera had it, right?
I think another critical aspect, okay, is the fee structure, the underlying fee structure of Hedera, right? In order to, be cost effective and compete against other, whether it's credit card or payment platform systems, we needed a very cost effective, solution in which we could build a viable business model on top of, and Hedera was perfect for that.
And the businesses need to know what it's going to cost. With the current models in Ethereum and solutions like that, you don't know what the gas fee is going to be. It could be one thing today, one thing tomorrow. With Hedera, businesses, I think, are attracted to the platform because of the low cost and the high latency and the predictability of fees. I don't think you guys could do a micropayments without knowing how much it's going to cost you before you charge.
We could.
So no, you certainly you can't. And the transaction cost is very key, and you're hitting. So when we define micropayments, right, as payments that are under $20, $10, and we think our sweet spot, not we think that is really our sweet spot is $5, as low as a fraction of a cent, right?
Yes.
So when you're dealing with 1 cent, fraction of a cent, and why do you need a fraction of a cent? What's the use case? You'll see that it's going to happen with all the IoT devices. It'll be a fraction of a cent, right?
Mm-hmm.
So your transaction cost has to be the basic native cost has to be lower than that. And we have some, and so the Hedera platform really helps us with that. And of course, we in the future, if you want to offer even lower than that, like really low, we have some other techniques that we could offer, which would have a little bit more risk, but the platform can handle that. I mean, our platform can handle that. But natively, without doing any more programming or any processing, the system has a very low transaction cost. So you're absolutely right. The micropayment was a no-brainer for us when we structured this.
It was very interesting when you said IoT. I hadn't thought of micropayments as a vehicle for IoT.
Yeah. Oh, yes, it is, and yes, it is. Absolutely. So when you think about all these devices, I mean, I'll just give you an example. It's not that we're specifically working on that. Even devices, if you want to open up a device, let's say you're using a locker room in a gymnasium, in a club, and you want to open up that thing, you could probably pay 30 cents or 5 cents or 2 cents to open up a lock because you rented the locker for the next 30 minutes. So devices, communicating with devices is going to be, but now this is human communicating with a device. But what about the devices communicating with other devices? So we were in the Auto Hall of Fame. It's a big event that took place in Detroit 2 weeks back, and we were talking to many of the folks in the auto manufacturing. Yes, we think that the automobile itself, which is a connected car, which has petabytes of data, a driver will be able to share that data of his car with the traffic management system that wants that data. And that's like a car communicating with a smart traffic management system. So those are two devices talking to each other. And those transactions might be 5 cents, 10 cents, just to share the last 30 minutes of your drive. Right now, all this is free, as you can see, with Google Traffic and all of that. But when we're looking at very precise data, right? Very precise data in the future, and that's what's going to be required for these connected cars. You could be a buyer and a seller. You could be buying smart traffic alerts from others, and you could be selling your data in the same time. You need a very fast microtransaction engine to do that. There is no processing that happens. There is no processing that happens at that level at this point, and it needs to be fast. And to a larger extent, it is between devices, so it's kind of private. It's anonymous, or it's mostly private. So you need that.
Well, privacy is a huge concern for people these days with their data and sharing what needs to be shared, but not sharing absolutely everything that that the internet knows about you. I think that with distributed ledger technology and applications like you're building with, so people, let's talk a little bit more about the Dropp itself, since we have a basis of knowledge going off of that. In terms of micropayments, typically, Sean, like how, so I get your mobile application and I sign up. Then what does the user do with Dropp?
So Right now, we've just launched, right? So we're
Yes.
in the process of signing up merchants. Okay, that's that's our critical go-to-market strategy. Okay, is through merchants, and obviously, the key DApp developers within the Hedera ecosystem, right? We'd like to see everyone use Dropp as their micropayment platform engine. And as soon as we start bringing these, merchants on board, and we're in the process of taking through a number of them through our merchant portal onboarding process. Right now, we're focused on the U.S. market, and we're onboarding merchants. It's a really quick 3-step process. We KYC the merchant. Okay, it's our responsibility. We're operating, as a prepaid closed loop payment exception under the Monday transmitter law. We have to KYC the merchant. We establish their security credentials, and then we do applied integration with their banking accounts so that we can make direct deposits into their accounts on a nightly basis for all the money that we collect for them.
And as a user, I've used your app, but so I sign up with the app, and the first thing I get to choose is, do I want to use fiat or do I want to use HBAR?
Correct.
Yeah. So that's a very unique aspect. We think it's a very unique aspect of the Dropp payment platform. You can choose to operate your wallet. If you're a consumer, you can choose to operate your wallet either in HBAR or in US dollars. Okay, and then in the future, in upcoming releases, it'll be multi-currency as well. So that's the first step. As a merchant, okay, you again can decide whether you want to accept HBAR as payment or just US dollars. So it cuts both ways.
Am I allowed to switch back and forth between those currencies?
Not at this time.
Not at this point. And I think you're asking a good question and we have to be very careful with the regulations on that. So we have kept that, although it's all done by Dropp, we've kept them as separate rails, and that just to follow the regulations in this country. So yes, not at this point, you can't just switch. You'll need to download another app to do that.
Because we're not regulated as an exchange, right? We like to think of the HBAR lines and the USD lines. They're just like the Ghostbuster lines. You have to keep them separated.
I see. Well, that does make sense because so Dropp as a micropayment is going to be facilitating a pay-as-you-go model for the merchant. So is your target merchant content, or is it e-commerce?
I think we talk about content quite a bit, and we talk about podcasts and videos and all, but that's because it resonates very well with the audience. In general, it is a small value transaction platform, so it could be used for anything digital. It could be used for digital media, but we are also focusing on the cloud data sector. So the issues that we see in the digital media sector, where people are tired of subscriptions, people are tired of all the ads, and hence the privacy is a big issue. We see the same issue when a team buys data. When you're subscribing for data for your company, you have the same exact issue. Either you buy it by a subscription, or you get some amount of data for free, and then you have to subscribe. So we are actually going after both the sector, digital media and cloud data, but it can definitely be used for physical goods. We see simple use cases like you're able to rent a Lime scooter, or you're able to buy a small products in a vending machine. We are talking to a company that runs a vending machine all over this country, where you will be able to utilize Dropp. So now there's a very wide range of use cases.
Yeah, I think in general, people are tired of subscriptions. Like, you just have so many subscriptions to streaming services. I don't even know how many I have anymore. And all I want to do is watch a movie, and it's on a subscription that I don't have.
Absolutely. I mean, we're not against subscription. I mean, I've subscribed to Netflix, and I'll continue to do that. We had it for 20 years, since 1999, and but then there's only so much subscriptions you can do. Like I want to subscribe to Disney and then uh, Hulu and all. I mean, at some point you only have so much money and you only have so much time. But once in a while, you do want to watch movies and articles from different newspapers and video streaming. So how do you enable that? And that is becoming a problem that we had written, I think, in January of this year. And then if you see the numbers of Netflix and Spotify and Disney, all of those are now complaining. They did very well during the pandemic, but all of them are now coming out and saying they're doing well in terms of profitability, but when it comes to subscriber growth, it's now going down because there's only 90 to 100 million people in this country who can really afford multiple subscription. At some point, there's a large population in this country which either can't afford subscription or are just overloaded with subscription. So, and this is just US. The rest of the world is completely different. They completely believe in pay-per-use. So we really believe this is a huge market in terms of pay-per-use.
Very interesting. So, you're saying in the rest of the world, they're more used to a pay-per-use, pay-as-you-go,
Yeah.
than in the United States.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. Then in the United States, yes, absolutely. So, let me give you a simple example, right? Of physical goods. Even in US, there's lots of times you walk into a convenience store and you buy one can of Diet Coke because you're not going to buy a six pack if you're traveling. So, but that's just the example you have. But if you look at the rest of the world, you go to Indonesia, you go to India, you go to many of the other countries there in Asia. Yeah, the physical goods itself are broken into small pieces and you can buy that. Now, when it comes to digital goods, the paper use where you don't subscribe to the entire cable, you can buy just one, not buy, rent just one channel. That's very common in the rest of the world, right? So we in US are more used to buying packages and bundle, right? But the unbundling is already happening. It has already happened in Asia, right? I don't know much about Latin American market, so I won't comment, but it's already happening because people, they have so many choices and there's so much, it's also an affordability. There's only so much you can afford, right? So people have already started doing it. We are a little bit behind, I think, in US, but it's going to happen with this new services like Dropp.
So we're also looking to unbundle, software as a service features and functions as well. So since I believe February, we've offered exclusively access to the Dragonglass APIs and real-time event subscriptions exclusively through Dropp. But we'll also be offering advanced features and functions on the Dragonglass platform, such as advanced search or downloading data, different things like that, or advanced analytics can all be unbundled and sold without a full subscription. And then if you start going after the Salesforces of the world and how they price all their different tiers, it really is a big universe out there of use cases.
Yeah, well, I think unbundling is very appealing to me because if I could just buy one channel, I definitely would do that. In terms of the browser, is there an extension for browsers? As I know, the mobile was the first that you did, but you now have an extension for browsers to utilize on a desktop or a laptop.
Yeah, so very good because I'm also a big desktop user myself, and so we have Apple, and of course we have the Android, and then we have browsers. We initially started with Chrome, and then in June we released Microsoft Edge, Firefox, Safari. So and we're going to keep adding more. I mean that sort of covers about 70-80% of the market. I'm sure there's Opera and there's some other browsers that we will cover, but right now most of us use Chrome and Explorer or Safari. I think we've covered that right now. Yeah, and we're gonna look at other. We are also looking at other methods where you could send someone an email, and that would convert into a transaction. So we're looking at other methods, but right now it's browser based and it's cell phone based. Right. Okay.
And Deborah,
Yeah.
Deborah Farber is here, and I guess
Uh-huh.
you have a question that you'd like to ask Deborah.
Oh, sure.
Yes, hi. So I'm just
Hi.
so excited about what Dropp is doing. I think, obviously, I think a lot of the people on this call are really excited about the new use cases it opens up. And I'm just curious if where you are in terms of fundraising, or if you need any, or if you've ever considered potentially, using a crowdfunding platform, so that
Hmm.
maybe some of the other barbarians out here could also invest, or if you're already got your funding all in a row.
Good question, Deborah. Deborah, I thought you'd be asking a question on privacy, but okay, let me.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry to throw you off.
No, because privacy is a big aspect of our platform. But let me answer your question
Well, I
first.
wanted to just jump
Yeah,
in and say, if for those who don't know, Deborah is working with Hedera as writing a white paper for their privacy uses.
perfect. Very nice. Excellent. So the way our funding happened is, I'm going to give you a little bit of history. Is we came up with this concept, and then we shared the concept with some of our friends and families. Some of them are in HBO, some of them are in Stars, and it felt like it was good. So initially, we built a proof of concept, and it was all funded by OpenCrowd. And then we spinned out the company, and OpenCrowd put $2.5 million in Dropp to build like the first version that could go live, which happened in February, in April actually. Sorry, April. And then and we of course need more funding. It's a complete payment rail. It's not just an app. There's a huge infrastructure behind this app. So we're raising at this point with angel investors about $2 million. That's what we're raising, and we should be able to complete that in the next couple of weeks. So no, we haven't tried the crowdfunding, although uh, we have something that's cooking in terms of tokenization, which we think would be another underlying technology that we might use um, to sort of reduce the technology footprint of the product. And that's a whole different question actually. But we will look at. We haven't said no to it, but initially we wanted to get it off the ground. As we started building it, we saw a huge demand. There was a lot of people who wanted to be on our platform, and crowdfunding is also not that. It's something that you need to really spend time doing it, and we just were been so busy building the platform. So we took the route of angel investments, and we found some really good angels who put money in it. So right now, no, we haven't, but we're not closing the door on that. Maybe later in the year we might think about that.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. And I
Yeah.
mean, if you did have anything to speak to around privacy, I mean, I'd love to hear that as well.
Yeah, sure. And it's very serious for us, the privacy, because if you think about it, right now when merchants sign up with us, one of the first questions we get asked is, "Hey, how much data are you going to share about your company?" Because they definitely want us to share their data, and it's not because they want to do a privacy breach. It is just that that's how they market, that's how they target the products. So for us saying that we're going to keep the data of the customers private is almost saying no to a part of a business. So we are going to maintain that. So what we have done is this. Uh, what we are trying to emulate is this: when you browse the internet, you come across a product. Let's say an article that you want to buy. You'll see a little blue drop there, which is a Drops icon. You click on it, right? Your wallet gets activated or your Chrome plugin gets activated, and you buy the article. There is no sign up, no registration. The merchant does not know it was Deborah. You just buy the product, right? We do not share any of those details with the merchant. They get an anonymous ID. It's a hash ID. That's what they get, and that's about it. So they don't know it's you. So we don't share the details, and we want to keep it that way because we think microtransactions are different than big ticket items. If you're buying something major like $100, $200 device, it's a whole different ballgame. Even there, privacy should be maintained. But in small transactions, you might be doing 10 of them in a day. You don't want to share your any details with 10 different merchants whom you don't know. So we don't share the details at all. And maybe I can let you know the merchants are not too happy about that. So what we're going to let them do is we're going to enable a feature called offers. That means if you want to reach the customer with an anonymous ID who bought your article, you can reach them through us, but you still don't know who they are. You could offer them a discount for the next purchase, but no details are shared between the customer and the merchant. And I think this is going to be more and more common. Again, if the customer wants to share the detail with the merchant, we don't care. We're not in the midst of it. But as a payment platform, we don't share the details.
Although we do log all the transactions using the HTS and crypto transfer service, and all of that information is transparent and publicly available on Dragonglass.
I love that, because it really, just to kind of frame this for the rest of the audience. So what you're doing is you might be able to know who that person is within the Dropp ecosystem, correct? You being Dropp, or
yeah. So let me explain this. The transactions are transparent. The fact that transaction happened in such and such time for 50 cents, that's transparent. But what is not is your identity.
Right. You're talking about transferring to the third party. I get it. So what I was, but it's still would Deborah Farr, if I actually bought an article, would Dropp have knowledge that I bought that article?
Yes.
So what I'm saying, so what I want to say is that it's keeping the information pseudonymous when you're sharing it to third parties. Actually, it's keeping it anonymous when you share it to third parties, but it's pseudonymous when it's within the organization, and which enables you to, still preserve privacy, but also you kind of created some tension within your organization on purpose, with some ethical guidance on what you will and what you won't do. And I think that's wonderful. I just want to prop up, give you props for that. It's tough to do, but it's really what ethical companies should be doing. It's what ethical companies should be doing these days, is setting that up in their principles, kind of immediately. And then that way it provides the necessary tension between the business and sales and the, ethics that you really want to put out in the world. And so thank you for walking the walk.
Thank you. Let's see.
We're trying.
We're trying. So maybe 6 months from now, when we speak, we can give you our feedback as we have more and more merchant signups. So, okay.
Well, I think the option of giving them an offer is brilliant, actually, because that gives you a lead in to gather a new customer for the merchant, with, again, keeping the customer anonymous. And should they accept the offer, then that's a reveal that they've chosen to give to the merchant.
Yeah,
exactly.
What we promote the concept of pay-per-use, and one of the things that we get back is, well, where is the stickiness in it? I mean, the whole thing about subscription is, the reason merchants love subscription is they got you. You're going to pay for it this month. You're going to probably forget to not cancel your subscription, but they got you, right? So, and the merchant can see, value, a long-term lifetime value on this. In pay-per-use, you don't see that. So by offers, by making an offer, by giving discounts and other sorts of services, you can create some amount of stickiness. So we're going to do as much as possible to help the merchant to find new customers and keep them around. The only place where we're not ready to compromise is the privacy aspect of it.
Yeah, actually, the ultimate goal is for the merchant to acquire new customers and retain existing customers, right? So it really is a customer either onboarding or acquisition tool for the merchant, right? And then for the consumer gets to keep the merchant honest by always providing valuable goods and services, right? It's just like when yearly subscriptions were the norm. No one would do a monthly subscription with you. You had to buy it for a year and live with it. Then everyone got comfortable with monthly subscriptions. Now we're just shortening up that cycle. It's just like, reducing the, settlement used to be 3 and 5 days, right? Now it's 1 or 2 days max, right? And we're moving towards real-time settlements. The same thing.
Are you talking about transaction settlements, Sean?
Not only transaction settlements, but we like to use the term mini subscriptions. You could be a mini subscriber for a half a day or 1 day, right? It still makes you your retained, client of that merchant, and that's the ultimate goal.
We have two other people that from the community that would like to ask a question. So SCD Bitcoin, you want to ask your question?
Yeah. Hi, Sushil and Sean. Longtime admirer of your product and your company. The big question I have is, do you see a Nasdaq listing in the future?
You gotta go step by step. This year, and on a serious note, our roadmap is this year we want to do two things. One is we want to make this offer thing that I just mentioned live, which will be in September. In September, we'll be also offering, and I won't tell you the name of the country, but we're going to go not global, but we're going to be international. We're going to be offering the Dropp product in a different part of the world. So you'll see a multi-currency wallet, and it's going to be a very interesting use case that we're working on. So we want to make that possible. So once we are in US and a different country, one thing that we have proved in that case is that our platform is multi-currency, and that's a big step. We have to do a lot with the ledger and with foreign exchange and all of that to make that happen. It's a huge amount of effort. So that's the first thing, and that's what I'm looking in for this year. And then, as I mentioned, IoT is a big play for us for next year, where we want to put this in devices, so you could the devices itself could actually pay. So there's a lot. I don't know about the Nasdaq listing, but I think we have a solid roadmap for the next 3 years with a token in between. So there's a lot going on.
I think you've got
So
some
I'll give
fans here, Sushil.
Sorry?
I think you have some fans here.
Okay, yeah, looks like it.
Well, I'm a fan of Nasdaq based on history. I actually used to work with the current CEO, Adina Friedman. She is wonderful. So a shout out to Nasdaq, but maybe we'd like to see Nasdaq come over on top of Hedera as well with Dropp.
That would be fabulous.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Well, you guys certainly have a great concept and a great product. I wish you guys the best. You guys will do awesome.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. And Charles Marquette is with us. Hello, Charles. Do you have a question for our guests?
It wasn't really a question. I just I kind of missed out some of the first of the call, but I just wanted to say, like, when you were talking about how you do the subscription, and then you, like, I think every single subscription I've ever done, I'm like, okay, I just need it for 1 month. I'm gonna do it for 1 month. I don't think I've ever canceled in time.
Yeah, I agree. Totally. I mean, I think Sean mentioned this, but we believe it's going to be pay-per-use, and it can also be micro subscription, which is, hey, I would like to subscribe just for next 8 hours. I'm flying from Los Angeles to New York. I'm going to subscribe to HBO for 7-8 hours while I'm in the flight. I just want to do that. And we need more of these. We believe that, I think that's the model. We went from annual contracts to subscription. Now subscription, we're going to move to micro subscriptions or pay-per-use. But you're right. I have a lot of subscriptions that I haven't canceled yet. So I'm with you on
like
that.
Right now, even I have some subscriptions that I need to go in and cancel.
Well, I think we all have subscriptions that we don't even know we have. They just get being charged, and who knows where they are. But
yeah.
That I think micro subscriptions would be really a very hot thing to be able to do, because sometimes you just want that for the day. Let's say you just want to stay home today and watch movies. You could get a subscription for the day.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
Yeah.
So, but I just wanted to go back to the browser application. So, because I'm not quite sure if I can use Drop. I cannot establish an account on Drop currently from the browser. I have to do it from the mobile. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yes, you're right. And we will look into in the future, but right now, what happens is this: when you download your Apple or on your Android, we use we create a private key. I don't know how much you know about the wallet still. Let me just explain this. So the wallet itself is very much like a self-hosted wallet. You manage the user ID password. There's no user ID password. It's all managed by you, right? So basically, we empower the customer. No one can have access to what you have, right? And right now, the technology that we built is built on the on the two mobile operating systems. We will look to do that on the browser, but we want to make sure it's going to be really safe because when you download a Drop wallet, you have the private key. So we use the public private key just like Hedera. I mean, it's the same thing. We create a Hedera account for you too, right? Behind the scenes. So we do a lot of there's a lot of technology when that wallet gets uh, built. Let me explain one thing. Although you did not, and no one asked this question. The entire platform is built on a protocol called Promise to Pay. We call it P2P, but it's Promise to Pay, right? And that Promise to Pay protocol, the way it works, is very similar to when you go to a merchant with your checkbook, let's say, and when the merchant says, "Hey, it's just going to cost you $10," and you write him a check, the merchant takes the check, right? You sign it, the merchant signs it, and then goes back to the bank and says, "Is this check valid?" And the bank says, "Yes, we checked his account. The check is valid." And the bank checks your signature and the merchant signature. It's the exact same thing, but it's all done digitally using private public key. So that public private key structure that I'm talking about is right now is enabled on mobile, right? We will look to do the same on browser, but to keep it safe right now, we've said you first open your account on a mobile, and then you can transfer it to a browser. But at some point, we will have you complete browser access where you can
Sure.
open an account in browser. And
But when I open the app, I can upload $100 worth of fiat.
yes, absolutely.
And,
Yeah.
and the same thing. So I connect. If I chose to do it with HBAR, I say I'm putting 1,000 HBAR in my wallet.
You have two options there. Actually, we've given you two options with HBAR. Is if you have your own HBAR account in a different wallet, you can just link the Drop account, and we give you that facility to do that. Or we can just automatically it creates an HBAR account for you, transfer it to that Drop HBAR account. So there's lots of ways you can do that. Yeah.
So I never had I didn't let's say I don't have any HBAR, but I choose to pay an HBAR. I can give Drop $100 and you convert it into HBAR.
I'm sorry, we can't do that. So you remember when we were talking about regulations, when you convert $100 to HBAR, if Drop does that, we need a broker license. We need an exchange license.
I see.
And you can run into real trouble. It took us about 3 months after we built this platform. We had hired Reed Smith. It's a top legal banking company, and they had to go through the entire money flow or the transfer of value to check us out. And we fall under a financial crime, FinCEN exception called the closed loop prepaid exception. Okay, and because of that exception, we are okay to do business in the United States, right? But the lines have to be separate, and we have it separate, and there cannot be any transfer between two currencies. You can't transfer HBAR to US dollars or US dollar. Once you do that, you become an exchange, and then it'll take us a year to go live. So no, you can't. I'm sorry, you can't buy HBAR. You can't convert HBAR to US dollar in our wallet.
No, that's okay. So I'm just trying to clarify for the community. You have
Sure,
to have
sure.
an HBAR account in order to use the HBAR functionality within Drop.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And we have another community member who would like to make a comment or ask a question. Cam, would you like to go ahead?
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, you are. Yeah.
Hey, so I downloaded the app maybe 2 days ago, and I set it up using a USD account. I'd like to go back and set up an HBAR account, but I couldn't find a way to revert that. Is that functionality enabled in the app, or is it possible to do that?
No. So
Okay.
so right now you can either have it in USD
Okay.
or you can have HBAR. So we don't have both on the same wallet yet, right? So you will, if you want to revert back, you will have to just uninstall, keep the passphrase, the recovery codes, because you can always bring it back. That
Yeah.
app is yours. That private key is yours. The private public key.
Right.
You'll have to just you'll have to uninstall it. Now I do want to tell you this. We are looking to this request of yours is a common request.
Okay.
We are looking into this multi-currency wallet that we're talking about. It's going to be multi-fiat currencies. But in that process, we are looking into how we can give you both the wallets in one wallet, which is HBAR and USD. We are looking at that, right?
Okay.
It's not a technical challenge; it's a user experience channel, and we are we spend a lot of time on the experience. We want to make it very, very simple for people to use it. So that's the challenge right now.
Awesome. Look forward to using that. Thank you.
Hey, thank you. Thanks.
Yep.
Is it against the rules to have two accounts?
No,
No.
it's not against the rule. Absolutely. What is against the rule is you can't flip between US and HBAR. I can't pay. I can't convert it. The conversion is not allowed at all. You can't.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I see. Okay, so it's we have about 10 more minutes. So if anyone has any comments or questions, please just raise your hand and we'll accommodate you. But I want to say that I've learned a lot about Dropp that I didn't really quite realize. I think we have a threefer here with Dropp, Dragon Glass, and Open. It's quite a company, you guys are, even though they have different walls. I think Dropp is a really an amazing product, and the future is very bright. And I learned something today, which is about the IoT of micropayments. When I think IoT, I never really thought of paying for IoT.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things we're thinking of just, and this is not purely IoT, but it's like borderline, is imagine you have a connected car and you park your car very close to electronic parking meter. The car should be able to pay 50 cents from the car directly without you doing anything. You get a little display in your connected car display saying 50 cents, and either you speak or you click on it and 50 cents is paid and you're done, right? And this is not something of the very futuristic. This is possible even now as we speak. It's just that many of the municipalities will have to implement that. But that's the model we're looking at, like small payments, all digital, paid through platforms like Dropp.
That would be just really very, very convenient. I think people would love it.
Yeah.
Convenience is a big theme for Dropp. Convenience trumps just about everything.
Oh, it really does, because if you can make eliminate the parking meter, I'm all for it, because half the time it doesn't work. So we have two other community members who would like to make a comment. So Jeremy, you're next up. Would you like to speak to our guests?
Hi, guys. I might have missed earlier in the conversation, but have you said which merchants you have set up now in case I wanted to start using this today?
So we, the first merchant that we installed was our own merchant, Dragon Glass, so you can buy on it, right? And that was in April. And you can, if you want to just try it out, you can buy for 49 cents. You can buy like 10,000 APIs on Dragon Glass. But that's if you're a cloud person. So we went live a couple of weeks back, and we have about 4 merchants who have signed up, but they have to implement the code on their front end, on their website to go live. So in the next couple of weeks, you will see Dropp on a bookstore. You will see Dropp in terms of buying podcasts, and you'll see some content providers out there. So you'll see that very soon. But they have to implement this on the front end and let them announce when they go live. But you will see them very quickly.
And we'll open up a page on
We have to.
drop.cc where you'll see the merchants as they start to come on board.
Yeah, I think just as the community is so used to knowing that we're early with Hedera and HBAR, we're also early being informed about Dropp. So we'll follow your progress with great vigor.
Oh, thank you. Thanks. We should
And we're
have
targeting both,
yeah.
small, medium, and large merchants. So there's some household names, that we're talking to that are getting excited, and then there's the smaller boutique shops as well. So there's a lot of different types of merchants that are going to be coming on board.
And we have another community member, Virtue Capital.
Oh, great.
Would you like to ask your question or comment, Virtue?
Sure. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, you can.
Awesome. Just want to say good job, guys, and can't wait to see what's happening in September when you guys release. My question was, what is your guys' sort of sales pitch to merchants when you engage them? Do you give them some sort of data on how they can benefit from micropayments and how much more they can earn in profits versus a subscription system? Thank you.
Correct. Very good question. Thanks, Virtue. There are multiple things. One is the transaction fees. The transaction fees are much lower than if they and if this is fiat, this is the fiat customer. The transaction fees are much lower compared to if they were to use Stripe. So our transaction fees are 5 cents on a dollar. If you were to use Stripe, and I don't want to pick on Stripe, but something like Stripe or any other big credit card system, you would be paying about 40 cents. So really, there are products that you cannot sell on your website or digitally or in any way. If it is 50 cents and lower, you make no money off it. So that becomes a slam dunk. So we think that anything under $5, right? It's a significant benefit. Like you're just adding to your margins right away, and now you can unbundle a lot more than you could. If you look at video gaming, streaming, all of these can be unbundled right away. The second big player is that you now have access to a customer base you never had access to. A lot of people, a lot of the digital providers, service providers, sell their product either by digital ads or subscription, which is like $20 and more. And almost every day, all of us like something and decide not to subscribe because there's only so much subscription. So you are losing a customer base right now, right? You don't even have access to people. You are making a product a lot more affordable and increasing participation by making it affordable. So that's, to me, it's both revenue and your bottom line and top line both get impacted right away.
Well, I have a question. When a merchant signs up and the customer comes and pays them in HBAR, is that what you pay the merchant in?
Yes, the merchant has to agree that they will also accept payments in HBAR. Okay. They have to, because some merchants don't know about HBAR, so they might not accept in HBAR. But they have to accept that they will be accepting in fiat and HBAR. In that case, as a customer, as a consumer, you will get both the option. Do you want to pay this merchant in HBAR or in fiat? And you decide what you want to pay in.
Well, there's also you're also having to educate merchants on HBAR then also.
Yes, absolutely.
Only if they're looking for that level of education. But I wanted to go back to the prior question. There's a third major selling point of the platform, and it's appealing to both the merchants and the consumers. We have a built-in capability to pay referral fees, right? And so, from a merchant perspective, they have they can set not only the price for what you're purchasing, but they can also set a referral fee. And then the consumer can refer that purchase into their social media networks. And then the technology links their accounts, and they get a referral fee from any of their friends that make those purchases, right? So it's a real big win-win on both sides. with the ability for merchant content to go viral very quickly.
So if I buy something on a platform and I place on my social media, just bought this great sticker from XYZ company, and my social media followers click on that, you would give a referral fee to the customer?
The merchant can set the referral fee, but the Dropp micropayment platform technology connects you, as the referrer and your friend as the purchaser, and sends the money directly back into your wallet.
So this, Sean, thank you very much. I completely, the referral is a very, very attractive option for merchants. So you can make your content or your services grow viral, because built into our API, the promise to pay protocol, is something called a distribution list, where if you refer someone and if they buy something, you get paid right away, and it's instantaneously. So you will see in your wallet a 5-cent credit right away, right? As somebody who referred the merchant to someone else.
That would be very exciting.
One thing that we didn't talk about is one of the use cases, and there are so many use cases, but one of the use cases that we're really working on, and you will see it live very soon, is micro royalties. So let's say you wrote some content and it's out there on a bookstore or out there on some online store, and then you are supposed to get a royalty as customers buy that product from that store, right? The way we build the system, you could get that royalty as distribution in real time. So it's not like somebody would have to write you a check 6 months later. That's what happens in royalty and all the confusion here. Here it's transparent. Somebody did buy a book and you got your 10%, 15% commission right away. And you see a credit on your wallet. All you have to do is download the wallet, of course. And then you'll see a credit from the merchant right away.
Wow. Well, we have one more. We have time for one more
sure.
Community member, and let's go to Cross Media Link.
Yes, hi. You caught my attention on the referral side of the promotion. Do you have to be a merchant to access that, or can I be this would be to me like an affiliate marketing type of is that similar to the affiliate marketing segment of marketing business?
Yeah, you just so you know, the Dropp right now is not a P2P platform. It's not peer-to-peer payment. It's really a consumer-to-business platform. So the referral has to be offered, right, by a merchant, and the merchant has to be KYC by us.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So basically, if the merchant, what do you call this, signs up for that referral capability, then basically that opens his avenues or channels for acquisition of customers, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So
how do we get hold of you more to get details on this?
Oh, you can just email us or just send us a message. I mean, I'll send you my email, or just send a message on our chat, and we would know. We know your name right now because I can see your name. Yeah, just send us. We can talk. Crossman, right? Yeah.
Yeah, very
absolutely.
good.
Send us an email. Yeah. Now,
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I mean that is a feature that almost every merchant is really interested in, because all merchants are interested in growing their business.
Right.
And basically, all of us, when you like a video show, what's the first thing you do? Hey, you send a link to someone saying, watch this show, I loved it. Well, if they watch it, I mean, if they pay 50 cents on it, the merchant has the inherent capability in our API to pay you 5 cents right away, or whatever he wants, whatever that percentage is. But we are exploiting that feature of our platform for micro royalties, for micro donations in all different ways.
Yeah, seems to be a very good. I wish you all the best. You look like you're doing really well. Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, we're at the top of the hour, so we really appreciate your coming and spending an hour with our community. So, Sean, would you like to say anything before we sign off?
Thanks everyone for joining, and drop us a line at drop.cc. We'll definitely reach back out to you.
Thank you so much. And Sushil, you've been very informative. I've learned a lot from our Spaces talk today, and I really appreciate you taking the time out to come and talk to the Cadera community.
No, thank you very much for inviting us, and we would like to join us again as we make more progress. And we really think that platforms like Drop is going to increase the participation in the digital economy all over the world. The more people will be involved in the digital economy with microtransactions, and that's what we're aiming at.
Well, knowing that 1 out of 5 Americans do not have bank accounts.
Absolutely, you got it. That's what I wanted to say. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
And that's a shocking fact that I know of, that I learned last month, and we have to facilitate more microtransactions for people, that so it levels the playing field and gets some kind of equity going on with people participating in the economy.
Absolutely.
So
thank you.
I want to thank you again for coming, and Deborah, thank you for talking, and all of our community members. Great questions and comments as always. So next Thursday we'll do this again, and we're very happy, and we're going to follow Drop and look forward to your new features that are coming up, and I hope to talk to you again real soon.
Thanks, Elizabeth.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm going to end this space with Hello Future. Thank you for coming.